Why is Asmongold so hard to copy? Because Asmongold is not just a streamer. Asmongold is a result of a very specific set of conditions. Most people look at Asmongold and see the obvious things: the messy room, the blunt opinions, the refusal to act polished. But those are not the source of the power. Those are symptoms. The real pattern is that Asmongold built a life where almost nothing is leverage over him. Most creators are easy to control. They want brand deals. They want approval. They want access to events. They want to be invited into the room. Asmongold does not seem to need most of that. And because of that, he can say things other people will not say. That is the first reason he is difficult to copy. You cannot fake not caring. You either need the approval or you do not. A lot of this probably comes from how he grew up. He did not come from a lifestyle where spending money was the main way to feel successful. When someone grows up with less, there is a real chance they become comfortable with less. They learn that happiness does not always come from buying more things. So later in life, when they get money, they do not automatically become controlled by luxury. That matters, because if you do not need expensive things, you are harder to manipulate. If you do not need status symbols, you are harder to shame. If you do not need to look impressive, you can focus on the thing that actually compounds. For Asmongold, that thing is influence. Streaming is his will to power. It is a thing where his effort turns into nonlinear leverage. One stream can become 10 clips. 10 clips can become a discourse cycle. One opinion can affect a game's reputation, a company's image, or an entire online conversation. That is not linear effort. That is leverage. Eating better, showering more, dressing better, going to more events. Those things may improve normal life. But from his perspective, they do not compound the same way. They do not scale like media scales. So he focuses on a machine that gives him the highest return: attention, distribution, audience trust, personal brand. And because he has done this for so long, the machine keeps compounding. The second reason he is hard to copy is that he does not live inside normal social morality. Most people label everything as good or bad, clean or dirty, respectable or embarrassing, professional or unprofessional. Asmongold often does something different. He reverse engineers incentives. He asks, what is actually happening here? What does this person want? What does this company gain? What is the real cost? That is why insults against him often fail. If someone calls him messy, ugly, lazy, or disgusting, they think they are attacking him. But really, they are entering his frame. They are repeating the identity he already turned into content. That is extremely difficult to beat, because once someone owns the insult loses power. This is also why he feels more authentic than many polished creators. A corporate creator tries to look clean, careful, and approved. Asmongold often does the opposite. He looks unfiltered. He sounds unfiltered. And the more people attack that, the more they prove the brand is real. The third reason is cognitive dissonance. Asmongold seems able to hold opposing ideas without instantly forcing them into a simple moral box. That probably comes from growing up around contrasting personalities and lifestyles. One side more strict, one side more carefree. That kind of environment can train someone to understand contradiction. Not everything fits into one clean category. People are not always good or evil. Systems are not always moral or immoral. Sometimes people are just following incentives. This is where the Nietzsche comparison makes sense. Not because Asmongold is literally some perfect philosophical figure, but because he does not seem to simply inherit the values of the crowd. He creates his own frame. He decides what matters to him. He accepts the consequences. That is closer to the idea of creating your own values instead of blindly following the herd. And this is why copying him usually fails. People want the benefits of being Asmongold. They want the freedom. They want the audience. They want the ability to say whatever they think. But they do not want the cost. They do not want isolation. They do not want backlash. They do not want to lose collaborations. They do not want to become a brand risk. Asmongold can survive that because his entire system is built around independence. Other creators often depend on networks, sponsors, and social approval. So when the pressure comes, they fold. He does not have to fold in the same way. That creates an asymmetric advantage. Even when people distance themselves from him, it can still help him because it reinforces the idea that he is separate from the herd. The outsider position becomes part of the brand. But here is the ironic part. If you watch Asmongold just because everyone else watches Asmongold, you're still following the herd. You just chose a different herd. The ideal version would be that nobody needs someone like Asmongold. Everyone would think independently. Everyone would generate their own ideas. Everyone would test arguments from first principles. But that is not how most people operate. Most people outsource their thinking. So if people are going to follow someone, they will usually follow someone who appears entertaining, independent, and less filtered than the average commentator. That is the real contradiction. Asmongold criticizes herd mentality, but his audience can still become a herd. And that is why he is such an interesting figure. He is both a responsive problem and a symptom of the problem. He shows that authenticity is leverage. He shows that not needing approval is power. He shows that if you can own your weaknesses, people have a much harder time using them against you. But he also shows that most people are not trying to become independent thinkers. They are trying to find a stronger thinker to outsource to. So the reason Asmongold is impossible to copy is simple. It is not the room. It is not the takes. It is not the lifestyle. It is the fact that the entire lifestyle removes leverage from other people and gives it back to him. Most people cannot copy that because most people still want to be accepted.